coming back to your marriage analogy, sometimes your relationship with investors may become toxic, right? Like
Yes.
they're expecting something, you're growing at a stable rate, but not enough to provide for them.
Well, I just want to say, like spread it out before you make a decision, before you fund it. Like now, when I have the strategic partners in that company, like I'm not looking anymore, right? But what I'm saying, like at one time, you cannot be fixated on one person and just waiting for that person to come back to you, and they're going to be thinking about the project or idea for 2 months, and you're just waiting on the person, versus making another connection, going to another industry, exploring other opportunities out there. Don't sit around and wait for the person to come back to you. And maybe they will come back to you, even though they're saying right now, it's going to be a yes completely. I just need to put everything in place, all the papers, everything, just timing is not good, whatever. Like me, they might say no still, even they said yes at the time. So, and you're gonna, get left there hanging, and you will be like, oh my God, like, well, what am I gonna do now? So, versus being a victim and being a victor, go and explore these opportunities to make sure that you mitigate the risk of not getting the funded, not getting the funding for the project.
I misunderstood your first point, but now I have a clearer picture. Like not just depending on one person to get back to you, right? Like, okay, you're approaching one investor, but don't depend on that one investor for your project, right? Explore many investors, right? And
Yeah.
and that's just like, the first analogy I could think of is like picking strawberries, right? You don't pick one, you pick many of them, and then you see how they all taste like, right?
Yes.
And so, speaking about exploring, you have your own podcast with over 20,000 subscribers called Space Explorer, and that's absolutely remarkable. So, how did that come about, right? Because you said that the Georgia space station was actually after you started your podcast. The idea came after you started your podcast. So, how did the podcast start about?
hmm So podcast has started with I don't know, just probably an idea, and I had another podcast before. It was mainly related. It still is out there. Again, I'm not active, but it has over 170 episodes. It's called Beating Alpha. So that was 170 episodes, and mainly with real estate investors, private funds, some other hedge fund managers, and things like that. So very intense financial investment strategy talk, right? So I had experience with that. Again, I learned the things as I wanted to learn about real estate. I made the connections. I made clients, people, network. A lot of great things that came out, through that. A lot of friends. And for, again, whatever reason, I can't even remember by this day. My wife told me that some time ago that, it was just a decision. And I don't know even why. Probably, marketing started to hit me around, as we see right now, all these banner ads and NASA t-shirts and things like that. Probably just started to hit me at some point. And it was like, I need to create a space, podcast. So probably that was one of the reasons I just, dug into it and started to create, these episodes. And it was like managing 2 podcasts at that time, and just started exploring. And, like every conversation, it was just amazing. Like I still can remember, every conversation that I had, that has been 130, amazing people, just amazing people. And same as you, part of, having a podcast. I just love hearing the stories. I think that's the most powerful thing, hearing the stories, because people, again, even though we're living on the same planet, sometimes we're going through the same struggles and problems, but sometimes we find those edges and things that we can never experience before, maybe because we're younger, or maybe we're just different environment and surroundings, demographics, whatever that is. And it's really great to hear those stories of failure, because you can learn a ton from that, more than success stories. But it's just awesome to meet all these people. And it's been growing since. 130 episodes. Obviously applying some, social media strategies, because that was one of the companies that I had before, to make sure the growth is there. And we just, continue to go from there.
Wow, it's like just starting from one idea, right? And this podcast also started from one idea, and
Yeah.
and all ventures out there have started from one idea. It's just that some ideas they just lack the proper, I guess, motivation and perseverance, right? And
It's coming back to the passion. It's coming back it's coming back to the passion. Like if you feel you're passionate, and sometimes passion goes away. And that was the case for the real estate industry. I was like, how long am I going to hear the word ROI, NOI, cash flow, equity multiple, like units. And like, I was like, oh my God, like I'm sick of it. People are repeating the same things all over again. And like, for me, like people who are in the real estate industry or you're looking to pursue, don't take it offensively. But for me, it was a little bit, too boring. It felt like, I was like very selfish and fixated on myself and how much, cash and cash, this is your rate. And, what's the ROI on that? Everything is about the bottom line, and obviously you care about investors and those people, because that's how the business operates. You have clients, but you think about yourself too much. So, it's coming back to that, just making those adjustments and just diving into it, don't be afraid to do that. If you can take anything away from today's podcast, you just, that's why everybody loves Nike, just do it. It's, simple, but that's the way life works. Everything that you see, like flying, if it's anything like, an athlete standing on a podium, a great musician, a business owner with millions of dollars, or people landing on the moon, that's how people start, by deciding, okay, we're just going to do it. As Kennedy said, we're going to do it not because it's easy, but because it's hard. So, and that's the attitude that you have to have. That's the confidence that you have to have. But, look, if it's not you, it's going to be somebody else. So the question is, why not you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, why not you? And sometimes, I guess, exploring ideas, they tell you not what to do, but just tell you, hey, I don't want to do this. It's good that you explored it, right? Because after every experience, you always learn something. And for you, in the case of the real estate podcast, like, okay, I'm bored of hearing these terms again and again, right? I'm not getting much insight into real estate anymore. So I'm just going to leave that aside, right? And that's really important, because you're narrowing down your passions, your interests, to what you really wanted to do, which is space, which is the podcast on space exploration.
Look, so sometimes quitting is good. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So with YouTube, it's an issue on how to build a reliable audience and how to scale properly. So can you describe your process in doing that, and how would you suggest people who want to get into this do such a thing?
Yeah, so I used to have a lot of these questions again from the clients, because we worked with the people in the real estate industry and we provided social media service for them. We handled 7 platforms, anything from writing blogs, social media posts for LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, even TikTok and things like that, Instagram. So people when I used to go for the podcast and speak about marketing, people used to ask me, how do you grow the social media faster? It's all about doing things fast. Because we live in this day and age where things we expect to get fast, right? Everything is on demand on our fingertips, as I said before. So we expect fast results, which, look, with social media, of course, there are certain strategies, but how we can expect fast results if there is 10 episodes that we have, 10 interviews that we did, or 10 posts that we did. So look, anything in life, there is time. Like, even though we're speaking about the projects like, Georgian Research Space Station, there's a huge project with investors and again, benefiting the space industry and things like that, or other projects that we're working on. Like, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't see, right? So same with the social media, like there's going to be a lot of, obviously, behind the scenes is not going to be a lot unless it's editing and you're going to do that by yourself. But it's just going to be given with the time. Obviously, if that's a direct question to how do you grow the podcast, learning how to do that successfully helps, which obviously, like, I love the fact that, again, you providing questions in advance, that's really great. It shows that, you're putting the time and effort for the thing that you do. It shows that you care for the person who's, giving their time to you. At the same time, look, I'm looking not at myself. I'm not a selfish person. I'm looking for ways to explore myself while I'm speaking and giving answers to you so the audience can benefit the most. And that's the idea for the podcast is to exploring these ways of how you can extract things, again, because there's some selfish needs that have to be fed as well. Because again, you're looking for information for yourself, some guidance, tools, supply things in your own business or projects, but just to look how to feed the audience. And again, as you mentioned before, like you explained, this is my audience, this is what the people are. So you have to learn how to, again, adapt and how to feed, that audience with information that they're looking for that's relevant to what's happening right now and the attention that they're, the things that they're seeking to as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of things go to it. On top of that, there's, graphics and design and things like that. Again, tags, what hashtags you use, where do you post, when do you post it? But look, just being authentic yourself and just doing things as you want to do, you're going to find your audience with the time, not with the 10 podcast episodes, but with the time, with the effort. You're going to have a lot of setbacks, or, I'm talking with the audience. You're going to have a lot of setbacks. You'll be like, oh my God, things aren't working. Those are the days where you just need to push through, because look, it's a process. It's a process everywhere. As I mentioned before, doesn't matter what business, what project, what industry, it is a process. Formula is exactly the same for the project, for the podcast, for the YouTube. Just push through it. Just push through it. Be authentic. You go learn the tricks, the knowledge, the hashtags. It's out there. It's out there. But the why, the passion, those are the things that no YouTube video or the guru can teach you about.
Wow, that's absolutely remarkable. That just sometimes you just need to, I guess, like you said, grind it out or just do it, right? And sometimes you may feel disheartened, right? And I'm sure you may have had your difficult moments as well, and you gave your answer to that, right?
Still do.
Just push through it, right? So, where do you see yourself with YouTube and your podcast in a few years? Do you see yourself exploring any other ideas? Maybe expanding?
Good question. So I talked with a few people, actually, a few organizations in the space industry that are developing their own projects already successfully, and they're looking to explore this as some ideas I cannot speak about too much, but there are people that I'm looking forward to working with and to put some projects together that will be beneficial to them and to me eventually, because for my own projects, because he asked me, what are you looking to get in return? And I said, same as you, attention. That's the main thing. That's what people are going to social media here for. That's what people are creating podcasts and posting stuff. Obviously, there's some, they want to teach people and give people insights and knowledge and people, that will benefit people. But a lot of people, including myself, they want the attention, because that's how money gets raised. That's how you get the clients, and you cannot do both without that. So with that, we're just going to put more fuel on the fire with the Space XPLR, just continue to do what we do, obviously make some changes, just because we have to. I just enjoy more than any strategic partnerships, because we're doing the business. It's not about Facebook ads and things like YouTube ads and AdSense and anything like that. YouTube is running ads on the videos right now. I'm not getting any of that, because I'm not applying for that myself. It's just for the audience, because that's a free resource, right? You have a podcast, it should be a free resource for people to come in, to get the information, to stay in your network. Obviously, if you have a product or a business around that you can include it in an email list and give them updates about what's happening in the company. That's another thing. But it's just continue to provide the value and add the value to the people out there. Because my personal mission and goal, as I mentioned before, just to continue to add value on the business side from the projects, upwards and ground, from up to the ground. so we can continue to benefit people. And look, space is one of the industries, even though like a lot of people know when they see NASA shirt, they know what it is. A lot of people are still not familiar about the opportunities that exist in this industry. So my mission with this free platform is to expose people to those opportunities that are there. And maybe some of those people, obviously, I'm not being too naive. It's going to be a very small percent, but some of those people will follow through on their passions or those childhood memories of becoming an astronaut or scientist. So even though they're 20 or 30 right now, they're like, oh, look, Martynas is doing it. Like, why shouldn't I? And that's the reason for the podcast, that it should be, just provide great value for the people.
Wow, I also don't know what to say to this. It's awesome, that that your goal with your podcast is to just provide opportunities for just to inspire anyone who had an interest in space, who has an interest in space, or just bring it up in who will have an interest in space, and that's really important, right? Because you're not in this for the money, right, as people say, or you're not in this for the financial gains. You're in this to make an impact, and that's really important. Like, oh, if you're doing it, why can't I, right? And I feel like that can be applied to so many different things, right? And just for me, like I've interviewed young entrepreneurs before, and the main thing is that, oh, okay, so if they can do it, why can't I do it? And why can't the people who I study with, why can't they also do it? Right?
Yeah, because I do believe, like, again, being selfish is never been good, right? And I hate the word influencer. Like, who should strive for become an influencer, travel the world with a laptop? I mean, it's good for some time, but not for the rest of your life. Because if you're an entrepreneur, really, oriented towards creating business and creating services that help and benefit people and products, you will go back from being on a beach with a laptop and you will be, I need to create something else. So at the end of the day, like people who are focusing, I want to be a YouTuber. That's what I want to do. I mean, it's awesome. It's great. I'm not trying to discourage people. But what I'm trying to say, there's always a bigger level, bigger game. And at the end of the day, like I'm looking from very dark place. If the meteor is going to hit us today, nobody's just going to care about how much revenue your YouTube is generating, how much money or how many views. Nobody will think about that ever. But the thing is, if we can get more people in this industry or any industry that relates to exploring Mars, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of contractors and people and companies that relates to what's happening in the space industry. It's not only NASA who put, Perseverance on Mars. It's, through a lot of contractors and contractors of contractors. So, just getting more people involved, getting in proximity closer, to those projects, so we can create that scenario of living on Mars faster, maybe not in 100 years, in 50 years, or, even faster. We potentially, as people working in a collaboration, we can achieve those things and more. So look, that's what I'm encouraging people to think about. Stop thinking about YouTube stuff, and those things will come eventually. Don't make it your main focus. It's just one of the things that you do. It's awesome. You want to do it full time, still awesome. But look for ways to add value. Again, if it's not in the space industry, again, a lot of problems here on the planet. Tackle one of these. Pick one. It's a huge list.
Yeah, I think the main goal of this, or the main idea of this conversation, is about value creation. You used entrepreneurship to add value to this world, to make an impact, and that's extremely important, right? And you said, okay, if you want to be an influencer, so you're not doing anything. Like, even though we associate value with tangible products, but you're just influencing the decisions of people, right?
Yeah, but look, a lot of it, like I'm coming from a social media background, so I just want people to understand, because I know there's a lot of people who are still naive, who are 12, and people who are naive at 42. I mean, there's a whole spectrum of people of being naive and thinking about, oh my God, because I see that person with a check mark on Instagram and he has 150,000 followers and all these pictures, beautiful pictures with cash and cars or travel or whatever that is, this lifestyle. Like, oh my God, this is the thing. This is what I want to do. Like, social media equals fake a lot of the time. Like, YouTube subscribers, and some of the cases I still get those, like, have you bought these subscribers? Like, why do I buy the subscribers? Do you think I like, it is ridiculous, but people do that. People buy verifications, people buy likes, comments, subscribers. So like, you can become an influencer today by just buying stuff. There's a different thing if you want to add value to the people and do this thing organically and again, create something around it. Because without product or service or something that will benefit people, how you become known? How many great photos you can take and people will be like, oh my God, I want to be like him or her. It's just, it's ridiculous. I mean, the focus of and the meaning of those influencers, I think it's going away with the time because people opening their eyes and there's like, look, this is ridiculous of what's happening on social media. And now we have a lot of the channels on YouTube and social media who are exposing the gurus and things like that. So that's happening. That's another trend. So look, it's just, at the end of the day, we're all people. We have problems. Pick one of the problems. Try to solve it. For those people, you don't have to go far. Just ask your neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. Just find a way to add value through whatever you like to do. And so as we conclude our interview, my last question is, what advice do you have for students about using their time, relationships, and opportunities to take advantage of their passions and to make a true impact?
So that's a good question. So let me look at it again because I see that on my end of the screen. So advice for the students about using their time, relationships, and opportunities to take advantage of their passions. Use it all. If that's the relationships or like use everything that you have in front of you, because like, believe me, there's people again who, and again, you're in California right now. So do you know how many times, again, I'm not in the United States, but you know how many times I dreamt about being in US? Do you know how many times I talk with the people in US and those are really sophisticated people? And I was really passionate about, some stuff that I used to do before. And I said to the person after the podcast, I was like, look, if I would be in the States, I would beat your ass in business right now. Do you know that? Because again, just my level of certainty and, what I want to do and the impact I want to make, like you need to be around opportunities. And what is the best place? Probably one of the best places is US. That's where you're at. You have a lot of opportunities in front of you right now. Probably right now you just have me. One of the opportunities, but there's a lot of them. And other people are not that fortunate enough because of the environment that they are in the countries that they don't have as many opportunities in front of them. So just use what you have. Connections, people. I mean, has to be something. I mean, the quote, like those who look will find. So you just have to open your eyes and mind and start looking. First of all, if you're completely lost, just, write things down, what you want to do every morning, every day, because I used to do that 2 times a day. When I wake up first thing and the thing before I go to bed, things that you want to do. Okay. Like I want to have this, I want to meet those people, I want to do this, I want to do that. Just have a list and know, again, what you're passionate about and just seek it and you will find it.
Yeah, absolutely. Using it all is really important, and it doesn't matter how much you have, as long as you're taking advantage of everything that you have on your plate. That's really important. And you said that, oh, you wished you could have been in the US, and you said that you would absolutely crush the competition, and I have no doubt that you would, because you've built so much confidence, you've done so many things, you have so much experience that yeah, you can wipe out all the competition here, right?
Well,
But
no, I'm not that
yeah,
confident, but
almost. Oh, yeah, almost. But it's just that the internet has opened up so many different ways, and
yeah,
so many different ways of communicating and just networking. That's why we're able to have this conversation here. That's
yeah.
why I'm able to have conversations from all around the world, right? And that's really important. So, would you like to give any ending remarks before we?
Yeah, look, so just get sold on yourself before you're gonna sell yourself to somebody else about your project idea or working at the company. Just get sold of what you want to do. Like believe in, as naive and as many times as you heard, but you have to know who you are. And I always tell to the people, once you're going to tap in your potential, if you're going to do that first step or one step or whatever amount of steps have you done before, there's again a next level. And once you're going to tap into that potential, that again, it's unlimited for every human being, there is no breaks for you. You can go to as many levels as you want. Again, there's time involved, so you have to be patient. There's another thing. So I mean, business is a recipe of many different ingredients, right? Patience is one of them. But you can do pretty much what you want. I mean, people are been doing and continue to do amazing things, just magnificent things. Like, and we can see that in any country in the world. So again, it could be that you're the next person in whatever industry, the next Jeff Bezos, the next Albert Einstein, or the next whatever you want to pick, whatever that passion is going to be. So just go and do it. Just go and do it. Find your passion, figure out what it is, and just put the work into it, and you'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. It's much easier said than done, but that's truly.
Sorry, guys. That's all I can do for you from here.
Yeah, that's really the recipe for just how you want to proceed with your life. And with that, I'd like to conclude our interview. Thank you, Martynas, for the time that you've dedicated to come on the show and talk about your podcast and your own space station. And I'm still flattered that that you're able to pursue your passions on a space-wide level, right? And I'd like to thank you for just giving us all some insight into your entrepreneurial journey and your mindset.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thanks again.
Yes, definitely. And with that, have a wonderful day, you all.